Good morning and welcome to Today in L.A. I'm Mike Amos, and he's a gentleman that needs no introduction as far as I'm concerned. And my good friend, it's good to see you this morning.
It's a pleasure to be with you, Mike.
And of course, ladies and gentlemen, it's a big week in Troy, Alabama, as we I call it celebrate, but the induction ceremonies of Troy University Hall of Fame. And, gosh, how far back do me and you go?
I can't remember. Many years, Mike.
Yeah.
We've been working with each other for so many years. You were one of our finest sports officials.
For
many years.
For a long time. And John Fairclough, ladies and gentlemen, one of my dear friends. And I say that because I don't know of anybody that carries himself as a teacher and coach and administrator any better than you have over the years. And of course, I knew him back when he played for old Troy State Teachers College. And we're going to go to our phones this morning right off the bat. You're on the phone with John Fairclough this morning, son. What's going on?
Hi, morning.
And, of course, Mike, you've known who John Fairclough was all your life, haven't you?
Yeah, I've heard that name a few times.
How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
Great. It's nice to hear you.
John goes into the 8th class, the Hall of Fame. That's this Saturday night at the Trojan Arena. And you can still buy tickets to that event. And I know you got a lot of family coming in, and this is a well-done affair. Have you ever been to one?
Yes, I have. It's class.
And it's a real, I say this about Troy. This is one of their finest hours as far as I'm concerned. They do this as well as anybody. And of course, to recognize a guy that from a little old place south of Brundage called Tarentum. I don't want to get it wrong now.
Right.
Hey, let me tell you, I tiptoe around this guy right here. Born and raised in Tarentum, Alabama, Mike, and went on to star at Pike County High School, then Brundage High School.
Yeah.
And of course, later on went to Troy and made a name for himself. And then you're the only fellow that I know that made the Jimmy's Tavern All-American list. We joke about that, but Jimmy's Tavern was a place that was located between Troy and Brundage. Do you remember that?
Oh, right, I do remember.
And they had I'm being facetious, ladies and gentlemen, but they had a plaque there that says pick up your gun when you walk in and put it back when you walk out. But of course, John Fairclough was just being facetious. But back in those days at Troy University, there wasn't a whole lot going on, was it?
Wasn't a whole lot going on. You're right. It was kind of a slow pace.
Yeah. Well, John, and of course, Mike, what we're going to do, we're going to talk to John, and he's going to be on our show for the entirety, and we want people to call in. The telephone numbers at the bottom of your left screen, 670-0052. You want to say hello to John and wish him congratulations going into the Hall of Fame at Troy this weekend. And we're going to talk a lot of...
Watched Troy lose their heartbreaking game last night, the UAB?
Well, let me tell you this. I left early, and I went back and I listened to it on the radio. I know we went up. We were down 2-0, and then we went up 3-2. Then it was tied 3-3. And tell us what happened.
Well, they scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 9th to tie the game, but unfortunately, in the extra innings, Russ Hickson gave up a home run with 2 outs, and UAB beats Troy 7-6. UAB is only 15-19 on the year, so not a great UAB team by any means, but they play Troy tough. They always have, and
I don't know what they come
Troy.
in. I don't know
really
what
good baseball, but hate to lose to UAB. I think they've been swept by UAB now.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, the thing that bothers me, they always have a chip on the shoulder when they play Troy. I don't know what it is, but they come in, all fired up, ready to win. And I don't know. Sometimes I think the game might be more important to them. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a strange season this year in baseball. I've been swept by Jacksonville State and swept by UAB in baseball.
No question about it. Of course, we play Alabama State tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. Last night, Troy Bank and Trust Company fed, and I'm talking about fed a bunch of folks out in left field, and we appreciate all that they do. An All-American, Mike, a two or three or four-time All-American was behind the grill last night. Ronnie Mobley, you've heard that name before, and of course I know you've heard that name before.
I've known Ronnie all of his life.
And of course they were cooking hamburgers for Troy Bank and Trust Company. Remember, they're the only bank you'll ever need. And we had a good time in that left field. But then I went in and sat in my seat, and we were just giving it. We were just giving it away. I mean, we were walking folks, we were hitting folks, and you know, when you start hitting batters, evidently you're in trouble. But this young left-hander started getting better and better and better, and it turned out to be a heck of a game. And Troy loses, and that overall record, Mike, when playoffs comes around, that had a big to do about it, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Troy's already in a situation probably being 16-16. They'll have to win the conference tournament.
Yeah,
to go into postseason play.
And it's an automatic thing, then, is that right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you win the conference tournament, it's automatic. But I mean, it's a situation where record-wise, I don't think Troy's going to have the 42 wins like they had last year.
Exactly. John, did you watch any of that championship basketball game the other night?
I did. I watched part of it. I didn't watch it.
It goes down, and somebody laughed at me the other day, Mike, when I asked the basketball coach, the new coach at Troy. I asked him, John, I said, Coach, does your team shoot free throws well? And he says, he started talking about it, and he didn't really say that they put a lot of emphasis on it. Well, let me tell you this. How many free throws did Virginia make, Mike? I bet it was at least 20 or 25 free throws that they hit, and buddy, that makes a huge difference in the game. Shooting free throws.
Yeah. I mean that guy got up with 70,000 people in that football stadium and shot those three to beat Auburn, and every single one of them, all net.
And he just laughed the whole way. He was just laughing at him. It was like he could do it blind. I believe he could do it blindfolded. I really do. But don't ever think. And Coach, you've been in the coaching a long time. You can teach somebody to shoot free throws. You can stand at that line for hours and hours, and he can develop a way to shoot free throws. And I'm not saying that Auburn didn't shoot free throws well, or Texas Tech didn't shoot free throws well, but let me tell you, hey, when you hit 13 straight free throws in overtime, you're pretty good. So that's evidently.
Auburn, their great guard Jared Harper announced yesterday he's going pro and is going to hire an agent. So they've lost, their great point guard Jared Harper.
In fact, there's a big picture on him about him in the messenger, in the advertising today, and. You can't blame a guy. Listen, that's why he came to college to play basketball anyway, is to get a pro contract. Don't you agree?
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. It's a next level opportunity, and
I'll
take advantage.
I'll tell you how hard it is, and to play in the pros. Of course, when you were going to Troy had a wonderful basketball program under John Archer, and I know he was one of your favorite people. And but Troy has never ever had a player to play in the NBA. Mike, that's probably the hardest pro sport to play in. Don't you agree?
No, yeah, there's no doubt about it.
I mean, if we one day got for the next 10 years got a guy to play in the NBA, that would be something. That would really be something.
You got to look at roster size. There's only usually 13 guys on the team every year, too.
That's right. And, of course, Alabama's had several, and, of course, Auburn's had several, back in the day. And, but...
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Brantley, Alabama had two.
And Sure, and then you got one playing in Europe too. So you had the Person boys, both made it out of a little town. We call it Titletown, John,
Right.
Brantley, Alabama. And the thing that everybody's talking about now, John, and of course you, when you were administrator of the Alabama Independent Schools Association's girls softball became a big item. Well, there is a pitcher at Troy right now, and I'm going to say this, and John is going to probably say, "What are you talking about?" Troy might have one of the very best young pitchers in the nation, Mike, in softball, and she comes from Brantley, Alabama, and right now
you're talking about the Johnson girl?
Hey, right now, John, she's unhittable almost. I mean, hey, she pitched a no-hitter the other night, Mike, and I don't even know. I think they were just 2 or 3 base runners the whole night. Tell us about girls softball.
Mike, I was during the era when slow pitch moved into fast pitch. It was a tremendous thing. Slow pitch softball was a boring game.
It sure was.
Fast pitch softball brought a whole new outlook to girls athletics, and today I think
they've made it a very entertaining game.
It's entertaining. It's fast. It's athletic. It gives a young lady an opportunity to demonstrate her talent. You can steal bases. It's just a different.
It is a real game.
I like to watch fast pitch softball. Yeah. Can you imagine standing there facing one of those balls coming in there?
That's right.
That fast.
And to tell you what,
40 feet away.
Exactly. I mean, I couldn't even get the bat around. No. And I tell you something else too. And of course, we've got John Fairclough here, and of course, he was the coach many years, an outstanding football coach, and was an outstanding player, and but more than anything was a wonderful administrator of the Alabama Independent Schools. And one of the things that enticed people to come to to play in those leagues was the game of girls basketball, girls volleyball, girls softball, girls soccer. Those were games, and those sports also gave girls an opportunity to go to college on scholarship. Title IX.
It did. Athletics for young ladies is mushroomed, and it's provided many.
But it enhanced the growth of the Alabama Independent Schools.
There's no doubt, and we had some outstanding players, and many went on to college to play. But it's a sport that is fascinating. It's well attended. It's exciting.
Yeah. Later on this spring, ladies and gentlemen, there'll be a tournament in Troy where there are 52 high school teams come to Troy, Alabama, to play in the regional playoffs. 52, and that means 52 hometowns, and those hometowns are represented by their mamas, their daddies, their aunts, their uncles, their cousins, and everything. It is a huge market there, and we're going to. And Mike, tell them what's happening now down in Florida, in Northwest Florida, as far as girls softball.
Oh, you talking about all the different tournaments and stuff everywhere?
What they're doing now on the beaches.
Yeah, like around Pier Park, they'll have tournaments throughout the rest of into the summer months.
Yeah, and then even they'll have tournaments even after that with travel teams and so forth. But what I'm saying is, instead of worried about college students coming down there, they now have built several new fields. They are building hotels around those fields, John. And what they're doing is the people that want to make money now on the beaches, and of course the mayor of Panama City Beach is a good friend of mine, is bring baseball and softball and tournaments and bring families down there to watch tournaments instead of worried about those beer drinkers on the beach. Yeah, and that's what they're doing. They could care less.
They're trying to make it a real family environment in Panama City Beach.
And it's a smart deal. And sports like softball and baseball, just think of the thousands and thousands of people that play that, and that will go to the beach for a weekend tournament, or some of them stay down there year round.
Well, high school sports it's a family thing, and they carry the tournaments to Florida and or to attractive places like that, tourist places, and they bring families in, and moms and dads are going to watch the young daughter play.
Now soccer, I don't even know the rules of soccer. I'm not even familiar with it, but a lot of people play soccer. My little granddaughter had a little game the Sunday afternoon, and I bet there was 1,000 people out there. Mamas and daddies. And again, another great little sport that's going on. But
you know what's big down here now is, you know, I moved to Grayton Beach, and around here everybody is playing lacrosse.
Lacrosse, now there's another sport coming down there, and of course, you know, that's the yuppie sport.
Who is the greatest lacrosse player of all time?
Jim Brown.
Yeah, that's what they say, Jim Brown.
The great Jim Brown played lacrosse for Syracuse.
Jim could play wherever
and look, it looked like it's like you walk around carrying a stick. That's what it is. It's got a net on it, you know. But yeah, it was big up north, and you know, you take the Marylands and the Dukes and the Atlantic Coast League teams, Mike. They're serious about lacrosse.
Yeah, I mean, you know, in Mount Brook, Vestavia, there was, you know, a lot of lacrosse teams as well. I used to go out to the Mount Brook track and try to exercise, and I'd watch them practice lacrosse. And shoot, you got to be really athletic. You got to have great hand-eye coordination as well. Yeah,
no question about it. And boy, you get hit with one of those rackets, it can hurt too. Mike Amos is on the phone from Grayton Beach.
I mean, as far as the you know, coaches standpoint, we were talking to the Charles Henderson coaches the other day. I was wondering, Mr. Fairclough, I mean, don't you think these kids play too much now as far as these travel teams and all these different games? I mean, like, some of these kids will play in 50 games after their season's over. That can't be good on arms and stuff like that. I mean, Dr. James Andrews up in Birmingham seeing more Tommy John from 13, 14, 15-year-old kids than he's ever had, ever. And he feels like kids play too much ball now.
Well, there's no doubt that at times it can be detrimental, but what amazes me is the ability for moms and dads to be able to afford for their children to be on travel teams. It gets to be an expensive proposition when you're going every weekend and lodging and food. And so, yeah, I don't know that athletics is exploited to some degree, but hey, it's a great outlet for young people. It really is, and it gives young people an opportunity to mold their personality and mold their camaraderie, to mold their teamwork, and just to grow and mature and understand that the difference in being selfish and unselfish in the sport. So, hey, there are detrimental points to anything that's done to any high degree, but you know, there's so many good points. It's a factor
no
that
question.
You have to weigh.
And one of the hardest things to do, and there are a lot of papas
out there. I mean, don't kids just want to go to the beach every once in a while in the summer anymore? That's what I always wonder.
Surely they do, and they do. Yeah. They have opportunities to do that also.
Yeah. But you know, like you said, if you play sports during spring break, you know, that's when you play in tournaments and all that. You play ball because you get the whole weekend off. But you're exactly right.
I mean, how about football practice now, Dad? I mean, you love football, and you know, you were a coach. But I mean, would you like to have to start coaching now in May all the way through August to the season?
I know
you can also coach now throughout the summer.
Yeah. See, now these guys can get there. I think the first or the second week in June they can start coaching football on the field with them, Coach.
Rules are flexible.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And they're stretched.
Yeah, that's right. But you know, I think it's too much. I think they ought to at least give them the month of June off. You know, at least do that. If they want to start back in July, fine. And you know, back in the old days, you started August 1st, and then you practice football two times a day or 3 times a day up until September 1st. That was the kickoff of high school football. But now it's a completely different story.
Well, you know, athletics and its importance is growing.
Yeah. I can see a coach right now saying, well, Mom, Miss Jones, you know, we're going to practice football during the summer. And she said, well, we want to take vacation on the second week in June, Coach. We've got a 7-on-7 that weekend, ma'am, and I don't think we can fit it in, but we're not going to make it a something that you got to do, but at the same time, if you're going to play with a program, you know, that coach expects you to do it.
Well,
I mean, back where y'all growing up, y'all had to work, didn't you? During the summer, y'all weren't able to practice football all the time.
That's right.
You had to work
This guy right here was out baling hay.
well, you know, during that era, sports hadn't reached the pinnacle that it has today, and TV was just minuscule. There was so the popularity of the sport, the population of the United States, everything has enhanced the growth of sports, and of course, young people are focal points of our society, and we do everything we can to try to keep them entertained. And
Dad tries to tell everybody that he used to have to go pick pecans just to go out on a date.
That's right, man. Hey, listen, you're exactly right. My daddy didn't just give me money. My daddy, like you, you said, Daddy, give me some money. I want to go out. You know, Daddy, I'm going to the show. All that. Hey, my daddy, it didn't matter whether or not you wanted to go to the show or not. You're gonna do it with your own money most of the time. And
man, I was the first string bag boy at Winn-Dixie. Next thing I know, you come home one day and say you start at Winn-Dixie next week.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Little bag boy.
Exactly right. But of course, you know, times have changed quite a bit, and sports is a year-round deal. You know, you play football, and if you're not playing, you know, if you play football and you know, coaches will let you a lot of times play another sport. But if you don't play another sport, you're gonna be in that weight room. Isn't that right?
That is correct. And of course, in our era, which was the era of the 50s and the 60s, and you know, we played sports at school, and we would play. The only other activity we had sports-wise was Sunday afternoon baseball. Yeah. But it was a great Sunday league of baseball.
Oh, yeah.
In this county. But other than that, that was...
They said that when you went to Spring Hill, there were two things that were going to happen. You're either going to win the game or get in a fight or both.
And I can probably name some of the people they're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
but Pike County had a big baseball league, you know, and I'm sure Tarentum, where you were from, had a league down there. I mean, had a team down there.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was Sunday League is what it was. Yeah. You know, Bobby Joe Ellsworth came out of that.
Oh yes, sir. And boy, what a great! Later on, played with the Dodgers. That's right.
Come out of that Sunday League.
That's right.
You know, baseball.
So when you played at Troy State University, who was your head coach in football?
Coach Bill Clipson.
Okay, Clipson. Okay.
Outstanding person.
Yeah, where he was. And of course, you know, back then football was so much different. Back then, so much different. I reckon that I don't know. That's good wording to put in there, but football coaches had to teach first, and they were hired to teach, so they had a full slate of classes, and they didn't even get to leave work to practice football until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. When you say they had to teach,
you have to realize that football had its place.
Yeah.
And, you know, like other sports had its place. Today, football's place is here as compared to then. It was there. The university now focuses on football. And back in our day, the university didn't focus on football.
And of course, you had three coaches.
It was a sport to be played for the students of the school. But hey, it was football, and it was a great game, and I loved it. And Coach Clipson was a great teacher, a great person, and one of the finest men that I've ever had an opportunity to.
No question. A class guy. He looked like a doctor out there. You know, I mean, he was a sharp guy in that old trench coat. And he always wore a tie, and he was an outstanding person. You know, let's get started. This is your life. You know, you started off as a farm boy from Tarentum. Tell us a little bit about growing up.
Well, Mike, nothing really different about my youth than all other young men growing up in South Pike County. It was a agricultural area. We were farmers. We were mule farmers. Tractors were...
I mean, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. You mean you walked behind a mule before?
Until I left home to go to college.
Exactly right. So...
why don't you go ahead and ask him your favorite question. Did you have a brick house or a block house?
Oh, shoot, Mike. They didn't know what a brick house was out in the country.
No, we had a two-holer, though. And it was a wood house.
Yeah, and of course, so the big bag wolf could blow it down. Is that right?
It could blow it down. It could be picked up and moved to another place.
Now, how many boys and girls were in your family?
I had one brother and one sister.
And tell us who your parents were.
My mom and dad was Pink and Beanie Faircloth, and they were native Pike Countyans and long-term family in that era, and so but we grew up in a very disciplined home. There was no margin for error at our house. Daddy ruled things, and when he was doing exactly what Mama told him to do, and so discipline was an important thing, and discipline was something important to me.
Tarentum's 10 or 15 miles south of Brundage.
No, it's only about 6 miles.
6 miles out. Is it on 25 or where is it?
On 125, like you want.
Davenport, near Davenport?
No,
not Davenport.
It's on 125 going south toward Elba.
Okay,
Elba.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I bet those great Elba teams probably tried to get you to play for them.
Well, no, not in that era. Nobody, it was.
You knew who Dyes and Wise were, though, didn't you?
Well, I did.
And Roland Powell.
Yeah, and they were great athletes and outstanding football
Back
players.
then, people didn't realize how good Elba was, Mike. Back in those days, back when you were growing up, boy, that bright gold helmet was prevalent, wasn't it?
Yeah, Brundage had some outstanding athletes too. Many athletes that did not opt to go to college and play, but were great football players.
Oh yeah. Now, growing up in Brundage, of course, and of course you worked all during the summer, so with your dad, and of course you were up early in the morning. Is that right?
That's right.
Did your mama have breakfast for you? You have eggs, bacon, and grits?
That's right.
You probably ate better than anybody, didn't you?
We ate well, yeah.
and when it was time to on Sunday, have you ever wrung a chicken's neck?
Yeah, have done so, and plucked the chicken or two, yes.
And the worst smell in the world is hot chicken feathers, isn't it?
When you singe them, right.
Yeah. Now, did you have to milk a cow?
Yes, I did.
Every day?
Every day.
What time did you get up?
Well,
my son don't know anything about this. So
if the sun was up, we were up.
Yeah. And of course, but that was just part of it. Now, did you homogenize that milk, or what did you do with the milk?
No, we didn't do it. We strained it and then drank it.
You did strain it, and then what did you do with the butter part of it?
We churned the milk, clabbered milk, and made butter.
Exactly. And did you wear overalls, or what did you wear?
Overalls most of the time.
And of course, now your brother was also a big guy, and he became one of the top people in the state of Alabama in the National Guard. In fact, he was the head guy at one time, wasn't he?
He was, but he died young. And
tell us his name.
His name was Joe, and
Joe Faircloth, well known in a lot of circles,
he was a civil engineer and just an outstanding person in so many ways, a very intelligent person. And,
did he graduate at Auburn to be an engineer?
He got his undergraduate degree was from Auburn, and his master's was from the university.
Oh, I didn't realize that. So he was a professional guy, wasn't
he? And he designed many bridges in the state of Alabama.
Yeah. But then, though, as a member of the National Guard, wasn't he the head commander at one time?
Yes, he was. He was in the National Guard all of his life, and he rose through the ranks. And,
was he older than you?
Yes, he was 3 years older than I.
Now, you weren't in the Guard, though, were you?
No, I was not. They tried to get me to join, but I wouldn't join, and never did.
You know, I would have thought you would have been one of two things, either a football coach or a one of those guys, a Marine Corps drill sergeant. You would have been a great drill sergeant.
I put myself in the position of being a football coach rather than a DI. But,
exactly.
And of course, my son is a retired Marine. He's a retired colonel out of the Marine Corps, and so.
And I remember when he played football at Troy and played at what was a very good program at South Montgomery Academy. He played on the state championship team, didn't he?
But Ken grew up in a disciplined environment. We grew up in a disciplined environment, and Ken's a disciplined person.
Yeah.
And the Marines fit his personality and his pursuit of life.
All right, now when did you think you might have a chance to play a little ball? Now, did you grow up playing basketball and baseball too?
Played it all, surely did. And Coach Fred Bowers, God rest his soul, was one of the great people that.
And he died just recently.
He died
didn't
just recently. He surely did, and he was my high school coach as a senior at Brundage, and he said, John, you know, you could probably play college ball if you want to.
How much you weigh when you were a senior?
I was 175 pounds.
And that was pretty big back then, wasn't it?
Not really, but it was big enough to play.
Yeah, to play guard though, you know, like at Alabama, those guards and everything weighed about 190 and 195, didn't they?
And I got up to 190 as a college player, but my playing weight was about 185. But Coach Bowers gave me an opportunity.
Okay, let's go to our phones. We're going to go to our phones. Good morning and welcome to Today in L.A. Our guest is John Fairclough.
Well, I'm glad it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, Max Howell calling from Fulton, Mississippi. Is that right? You're calling from Fulton?
Right downtown Fulton.
And of course, we got a good friend of yours on our show today, John Fairclough. And tell us what you know about John Fairclough.
Don't tell what you know.
Most of it he'd rather not be talked about.
Oh yeah.
I can promise.
Well, all right. Now, right now we were on the. Let me finish my little conversation with him, Max.
Sure.
You know, I asked him briefly when did he figure that he had a chance to play college football. Of course, he played at a good program, Brundage High School, and won a lot of football games growing up. But I asked him the question, when did he think that he had a chance to play college football? And he said Coach Bowers said, I believe you got a chance. And what happened after that, John?
Well, Auburn looked at me and said, you're too small. So Coach Bowers hit me. He gave me an opportunity to visit a couple of junior colleges, and I wound up at Southern Union Junior College in Alabama under Coach.
In Wadley, Alabama.
Yeah.
And you had to want to go to Wadley.
You don't go there. But anyway, under Coach Earl Bentley, who was a drill instructor type, and he was he used a physical approach for football, and if you survived, you were fortunate. But that was a great experience, and if I could have found my way home, I might have gone home from Southern Union.
Yeah.
And then Coach Clipson gave me an opportunity at Troy, and of course then had an opportunity to play with Max, and Max came in and out of the junior college in Auburn, and we became good buddies, and some of the best years of my life was spent with Max, and we did a lot of things, enjoyed a lot of things, and of course we cried and died on the football field.
No question about it. And of course now you came in and was signed by Troy, and then Max went to Auburn first, and then you transferred to Troy. Now one thing about you, Max, was that you had worked with weights. You were a little different than a lot of folks. You had muscle, but it was muscles that you got by working out with weights. Isn't that right?
Well, it was a little bit different in
You
those
didn't
days.
farm. You didn't farm, though, did you? You lived in Prattville, Alabama.
I think that was a different. John grew up working hard all his life. And
country
I was
strong.
fortunate enough that my dad was a kind of a plant manager, so he had the opportunity to put a weight program together for me when I was like 15 years old. And I think it was, we didn't have...
And that was the Charles Atlas type program, or what was it?
Well, it was, I tell you, he got a cold rolled steel bar and put pulleys on the end of it and weighed them out on the scales, and there was nothing specific. In other words, it wouldn't be 125 pounds, it might be 126 and a half. It was not very sophisticated, but he played basketball at Alabama for just a year or two before the war broke out. And he had access to that, and I started when I was about 15 years old. The only way I got anywhere, I didn't have that much ability, but I was able to get a little bit.
You look pretty. Hey, so let's just say you were pretty. Now, when you got to Troy, of course, you had John Fairclough, you had Jim Tompkins, of course, Jim. I think I want to say Max sort of brought weightlifting to Troy. Isn't that right?
Well, there was a program was there, Mike, through Nick Costes.
Yeah.
He'd already had the program designed, but I don't think it was as, it wasn't important. It wasn't that important, obviously, as it is today. It was in the very early stages of being developed. And, of course, I'd taken to it long before that, and that was my only survival.
All right, let's name a few more. Now, Bobby Murchison was there about that time, wasn't he?
Bobby Murchison. We had Cliff Russell.
And Cliff Russell, of course, the big guy out of Montgomery. Cliff Russell that played at Alabama, hadn't he? And transferred, didn't he?
Yeah, outstanding football player. Walt Davis was a big
Walt.
man on the team, and
Yep.
and
I remember Big Walt.
we
Yeah.
could tell some stories about Walt, but we don't have time. And then we had, of course, some outstanding football players like Bubba Marriott,
yeah, and he's
Frank
in the
Sadler,
Hall of Fame.
you know,
Frank
Bob
Sadler.
Yeoman,
Yeah,
Clayton Wooten,
that's right.
Thad Morgan, and Mike Griffin, Max Griffin, and
Yeah.
you know, just
Of course, everybody knows who Max Griffin was. He was he built a reputation as a coach.
an enterprise.
In fact, a lot of you guys went into coaching after you got through. But let's look at Troy back then. Of course, you know, the State Teachers College, and you know,
You predate me now. The State Teachers College was a thing of the past when we got here.
oh, it was.
It was Troy State College.
It was.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
The Red Wave.
It was close. Yeah, no question. It was the Red Wave.
Of course, we were still a teachers' college, but it was.
Exactly. And of course, you know, a lot of fun. I mean, it was, you know, back in those days, of course, you all played football, and you know, but that group of folks was a lot of fun back then. We've got some callers calling in right now, and we'll try to transfer one of them. What we're going to do is, and hopefully we can get this on through here in a minute. But Max, you know, your days at Troy, and of course, you know, you were like everybody else. Troy University, or Troy State College back then, produced some of the finest coaches in the country. Of course, y'all played hard on the football field, but most all of you ended up making a living coaching football, didn't you?
Well, you know, that was one of my major reasons. I wish I'd have come right out of high school and gone, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I didn't. I had kind of flirted with that opportunity, but I wanted to coach from the time I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
I knew that was. I thought that was where I wanted to go. And Troy was by far the best college coming in the state of Alabama that put out coaches.
Yeah. If you wanted to coach, Troy was the place to go. Wouldn't you say that?
That's again. That was one of my driving interests, was to go there. And I think John will agree. We were taught how to teach football. We did not have an overabundance of talent on those football teams. But you look at the number of guys that came out and went on to coach, coach high school and college football. That list is pretty long.
I'm going to put you on hold a second. I'm going to see if this is calling in for a question. I'll bring you right back. Well, it just jumped off. So, all right, you're on Today in L.A. How you doing?
Hey, I'm just back on.
All right, you're back on. Okay, Mike's back on, and we'll go from there. And now there's some more calling in. All right, Max, we got you. Who we got?
You got me.
All right, I'm going to take you off and put him on. We'll put this right here. That should do it. Max, you on? Max Howell, you on? Oh, boy. Let's see, Max, you on?
I'm here. Yeah.
All right, that's why we wanted to know.
Max was talking about coaching, and Max and I, of course, we lived together for 2 years, very close, and football was an important part of our lives. But my game plan was to be the best football coach I could be. That was my pursuit in life, and that's what I did for many years. I was a student of the game then, and we were students of the game as players too. We were taught techniques and fundamentals, and we were taught how to play football, and then we taught our players how to play. A lot of coaches, and it's hard to find coaches today that can teach winning technique at every position on football.
All right, y'all played in the late 50s, early 60s. All right, I played in 64, 63, 64, football seasons. We didn't know what a weight was. We did not have a weight program even that far in. Max went to Carroll High of Ozark, and y'all were actually lifting back then, weren't you? Back in the early 60s, weren't you?
Yeah, I took that concept to the high schools there, and of course I went from there to Bay High in Panama City, and they already had a program. They were a little bit more sophisticated than some of the rural schools, that a lot of our guys came from, and certainly ended up coaching, back coaching.
Yeah.
I bet if you looked at the whole concept of what John was just talking about, the teaching aspect was the most important thing. And I think today, John, based on what you said, you're right. I think so many high school coaches, particularly, and even some of junior college and college coaches, the sophistication of the high school programs that are coming through today, they just weed out the kids that doesn't have a lot of skill, didn't have a good skill set. And a lot of the guys that had to work their way into that, and I put myself in that category, you actually had to work yourself in because we didn't have that kind of background. We didn't have that emphasis coming out of high school that they do today.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're going to be a two-sport participant or even just a one-sport participant.
A name that a lot of people are familiar with that was just a young freshman on that team was a guy named Jim Tompkins, and of course he became Hercules. I mean, he was big into the weight program, and when he got into college coaching, high school coaching, he became a big advocate of working out with weights. And we're talking about Bobby Murchison, we're talking about John Fairclough, Jim Tompkins, and of course John. What I'm saying, most all of those guys were guys that took strength programs and went everywhere, and a lot of them went down to South Florida. John, you went to South Florida, didn't you?
I did, and enjoyed my tenure. I was in Florida 10 years, a decade of the 60s in Florida as a football coach.
Was that your first job down there?
It was, and at Admiral Farragut Academy in St. Petersburg, Florida.
And that's a pretty well-known school, isn't it, Max?
Naval Prep School, and it was a great place for me to go coach.
Yeah.
It was an all-male school, and their students all were boarding students, but it was a great tenure there, and I was under a great head coach there, probably as good offensive mind as there was. A gentleman by the name of Nick Hatsey, who had played under Tom Nugent at Florida State, and so I was under some good coaches.
And actually, Max, of course, one of the reasons why they wanted to go to South Florida was the money was better too, wasn't it? Did they pay a little bit more money?
I guess you might say that.
Yeah.
But there's also the fact that you go where the job offer.
Exactly.
Where the job offer comes from.
All right. Well, I'm gonna put this together now. Of course, you were at Carroll High of Ozark, Max was, and then you went down to Bay High School in Panama City, and Jim Tompkins ended up going to Bay Minette, and then went over to Choctaw High School of Fort Walton, and then ended up at Charles Henderson. I mean, all of you ended up doing that. And of course, you got an opportunity to go with Billy Atkins, Max. What year was that?
Well, I came back to Florida and was working on my master's at that time, and Dr. Earl Watson, John remembers well, was the athletic director at that time, and he had his fingers in 100 different things, and I ended up taking like a student scholarship situation to teach during the summer to help pay my way.
Now I know the rest of the story.
But I took that job when Billy first came there as kind of a fourth. I think there was 3 active coaches on the staff, and I was like number 4 on that staff. And then Billy and Bill Morris got in a hassle one day, and Billy fired him, and I was the next guy in line. But the fact is you're talking about the pay. I took $1,000 a year cut from Bay High in Panama City to come back to Troy.
Yeah.
And I didn't tell my wife at that time. I thought I was going to have to get a divorce early in my career. She survived that. But those were the days. A lot of looking back, and I know all of us probably, had some opportunities along the way we wish we'd made different decisions on. But it was what it was. At the time we made those decisions, those were the best decisions we thought we could make.
Hey, Max, if I could, I would wait until now to go into coaches because 25 coaches in Alabama high school football coaching making over $100,000 now?
Yeah. Isn't that the truth?
I should have waited.
You know what? Exactly. The last job I had on the field was at Ole Miss, and that job paid about $65 at that time. That job today pays $300.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
A different era, a different world.
But I'll tell you one thing.
I'll tell
you one thing about these Troy guys now, and I know all of these guys and that we've named out and everything. But when the AEA holidays came and they went to Panama City, hey, y'all didn't back up to anybody. y'all were hard-nosed guys that played, you know, that were very physical.
I don't know if you use the correct term, back up or back out.
Yeah, back out, exactly. But, and then, of course, you all became very good coaches. And, of course, John Fairclough, ladies and gentlemen, this Saturday will walk into the Trojan Arena and receive a Hall of Fame membership and a big ring, and we're excited about that. You know, you guys.
Mike, while you're there, you know, I just want to publicly say that I appreciate the people that submitted my name for consideration. I think Bob Booth, maybe Sam Bird was involved with that, and you might have been involved with it. But the point is, I sincerely appreciate the committee for selecting me, because you had to go way back in the archives of Troy football to find John Fairclough, and so you know, it's certainly a great honor.
Yeah, well, let's of course, not only were y'all roommates in college, and of course y'all's ideals became the same, you know, strong, and you were very conscious, you were good students, and you wanted to be coaches, and all of these guys we named wanted to be coaches, and they became good ones. But Max, when the Alabama Independent Schools started, and what was the date? 70, 71?
70.
1970, when it first started, you were out there, and John was out there. Y'all ran across each other in some coaching opportunities, didn't you?
No, not really. Max was first headmaster coach at South Montgomery. Then he went to the APSA office, and I became the second headmaster.
I know. Well, so that's what I was thinking about. In fact, so Max, tell us about how you got into that.
Well, you know, John's heard me tell the story, and I spoke to one after John went to South Montgomery County. He had me down to speak to a graduating class, and I made the public announcement that wherever the last two jobs I had in education at that level, I started them off, and John came in and cleaned them up.
Well, you went and you hired Sam Bird. You had who all did you hire that first year?
Well, I brought all those guys. Not all of them, but I brought 4 or 5 of those guys over just as a volunteer coaching situation.
Mike Griffin was
those guys that played on the national championship team in '68.
That's right, and of course, you know, and then you know, there was a lot of guys in that league, you know, coaching. Bobby Skelton, of course, a good friend of mine, coached back then, and but that's where y'all sort of ran into each other again, and so you, when he moved in as administrator, you became the head coach at South Montgomery Academy.
The headmaster.
And ended up winning a state championship, didn't you?
No, I did not win it, but the team that I left won it under John Niblett.
Okay, under John Niblett, another well-known guy. Of course, his son, Josh, is one of those guys making all the money at Hoover High School.
An outstanding football coach.
Josh's brothers, I think, at Foley.
Yeah, oh yeah, and they're all very good coaches. But they all, even though John went to Jacksonville State, back then everybody was. I mean, there was a ball coach. You were a ball coach, and you were a guy that built character, and the weight programs got to be big, and of course, y'all was sort of the foundation of those type coaches.
You know, look at it this way. Football has given many ordinary people an opportunity to do something.
Very true.
They became coaches. But you also have to realize there's 2 kinds of coaches. Those that's been fired and those going to get fired. Because it's the way life is.
Now, one of the schools you coached at before you came to Troy was the military school.
Right.
All right, and now, Max, you know all about this. This is where the millionaires across the country sent their kids to be, you know, in fact, they didn't go to that school. They were sent to that school. About like Marion Institute. Some people go to Marion Institute, and then some people were sent to Marion Institute. Is that right?
Well,
very true. I know when I first came back to Troy, that's the first thing Billy wanted us to go do. That he recognized really quickly that we could not win at that level with just kids bringing them out of high school, because we had to compete with Alabama and Auburn and Florida State and Tennessee and Georgia and everybody else around. So his idea was to go to the junior colleges and find the kids and/or take the transfer kids. And I told the story 100 times in that run from '65 to '70, I guess. school kids. Ronnie Shelley was one, Al Head was one. We didn't recruit, but we got the kids. And I remember my first, and you can please share, I probably never told you this story. My first confrontation with a coach was Frank North at Marion Institute. I was in there trying to recruit his kids, and my approach was going to be when they finished the season, if they were academically eligible, they could come on and be eligible with us. Well, Frank thought I was trying to, steal his team away.
Yeah.
And I never will forget. He and I had a face-to-face one Sunday afternoon. It was something to, let's say this: the vocabulary that was used, you can't say on the air.
And he was an old Yankee now. He was an old guy from up north, too, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. He really was.
Yeah,
He was a good football coach.
I knew Frank very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, you guys have were friends from college days, and you could almost, it got to be so many Troy guys out there that it was just like old buddies playing each other all the time. But I'm sure a lot of rivalries came from all of that too. And of course, John, then after you moved on, John became the administrator of the Alabama Independent Schools for 27, 30 years, something like that.
About that, 26 years.
And hey, and he ran it like he ran his life. And that was with rules and regulations that would not be broken. Don't you agree?
Well, I've always worked under this principle: rules are to be implemented, not discussed. And if you got the rule, we implement the rule. If we want to change the rule, then we'll. But it's amazing when you get into coaching football, how many opportunities there are out there, and there's just many. And even today, but finding someone that will commit themselves to being a solid football coach and it's as difficult today as it was back in that.
Well, when you become administrator of a Alabama Independent School Association at the time, probably had over 100 schools at one time in there. Hey, you weren't having to deal with kids, you had to deal with coaches and parents, and that made it really hard to do. But Max, I think you would agree, if you would have wanted to go out and find one guy that could handle the pressures of the Alabama Independent School, it'd be John Fairclough. What do you say?
I don't think there's any doubt. That's why I say I didn't stir it up to begin with, but John came in and cleaned it up and stayed 30 years.
Exactly. Well, and of course he loved that South Montgomery Academy, that Raymer area, and he loved to eat at Red Schoolhouse Restaurant and all that.
Well, yeah, and I still like that area. It's great to be out there where there's not so many people.
Yeah.
And the traffic is not bad, but be that as it is, it was part of a stepping stone in my program.
Yeah.
And really going to South Montgomery might not have been the best thing for me professionally, but from a standpoint of family, it was the greatest move I ever made.
Hey,
Right. That's a great way to put it, because I chose the other route, and I ended up losing two families, to tell you the truth, along the way. Because I could never find that right situation. I was always looking for the next big step.
But you know what? In the same breath, though, you were an outstanding coach. John was an outstanding coach. Y'all were very good friends, and Jim Tompkins, y'all were very good friends. I mean, y'all had football friends and former players that you played with all over the country. I mean, Troy had a great reputation of coaches, and y'all were all close friends, and you still are in many ways.
Well, Troy has been a launching pad for many young people's career, but I did find this out in coaching. I was a much better coach the years I had good athletes.
Oh yeah.
Than I was. I didn't have.
Like Larry Blakeney.
I found that out early.
I had an opportunity to coach, and
I always claimed I was never a smart guy, but I could read a roster and tell you where they were.
Well,
John,
John, you understood exactly where Billy Atkins was coming from when he built Troy's program, and no question about it, he built Troy's program. But what he did, he went out and got a lot of disgruntled players that were not happy. He went to Chattanooga, got 4 or 5, and he went to Auburn, Alabama. Of course, I can name most all of those guys, and there were new players coming on campus every week. But back then, the rules of the NAIA was different, and you could get a kid off Auburn's team, and he could almost play immediately, couldn't he?
Well, he could. But see, we were in that transition. Soon after Billy got there, we made the application to go to Division II. So we had that two-year window there. And I'm going to tell you, I can tell you some stories about traveling around the plant schools that had no idea about the rules situation. And the rules were so lax in those days, it was just unbelievable. But I'll tell you, back to the fact is, even though we recruited those kids, and John hit on it, it's all about the talent level. But Billy brought a system with us that was so far in advance of what the opposition was in those days. It was unbelievable. I mean, we were doing 3 and 4 wideouts, and we were checking the line of scrimmage, and we had all kinds of situations. We went to the gun early in Billy's career, and he brought that San Francisco system with him. And, I mean, if you go back and look at it, the points we scored was just unbelievable, and against some really good football teams. And I've told the story 100 times. My job, I was down the list on the assistant list. So my job, when we hit the campus on an opponent, I'd have to go in and visit with the coach because Sam and him loved to throw the unmarked ball. And I never will forget.
You mean it didn't have a stripe around it?
It didn't have a stripe day or night.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I always wondered how they could see the ball, like that.
Well, we threw the ball so many times, it was just a reaction to it. But I know we went out to northwestern Louisiana in 1967, and they were like #1 in the country. They had about 6 or 8 NFL players. And we went out there and we played in front. It was their homecoming. We played in front of 25,000 people. And our kids, it came out of the high school here in South Alabama. They had never seen 25,000 people at one time. And I walked in that afternoon, on Friday afternoon when the bus got there, and I told the coaches, I said, Coach, here's what, this is the way we do it. We'll change balls each time, but our quarterback likes throwing an unmarked ball. Guy looked at me and he said, son, we don't care if y'all play with a Nerf ball. I went back and told him,
right?
Really that.
Right.
We beat them. We had them 25 and nothing at halftime.
Exactly right.
And ended up beat them pretty bad.
Nope.
But those were the system that we employed, because the check system. Most people use a 3 deep zone against us, and we'll take the tight end and back him off to an H-back, do all kinds of stuff like that they were doing in the NFL. And these other guys that were coaching kids had never seen that before.
Yeah, no question.
But contrary to that, Max, Coach Clipson ran that same system back in the 59, 60.
He just didn't have the quarterback, and of course the quarterback had a lot to do with it.
He was ahead of his time with his scheme.
No doubt, John. And of course, with Bubba Merritt, he could afford to do that, but he couldn't quite get enough other great athletes, to make it. That's why I think Billy went the transfer route.
Couldn't catch the football.
He found players
right.
that were already capable of playing. That was on a roster that wouldn't get to play somewhere else.
Exactly.
And and of course, if you remember back then in the SEC, they wouldn't take married players.
Well,
exactly.
Our team was married.
We're gonna go on a break. We're gonna take a short break. We'll be right back with more of Today in LA, and This Is Your Life. John Fairclough, as John this weekend will go into the Troy University's Sports Hall of Fame, and of course that starts at 6:30 from the Trojan Arena in Troy. Tickets are still available. You can call the athletic department today at 670-2418, 670-2418, and get your tickets, and they'll be right there. We'll call for you. Or you can drop by and pick them up. So it'll be a wonderful weekend as we honor the great John Fairclough, ladies and gentlemen, into the Troy University Sports Hall of Fame. We'll be back in just a moment.
If you've had an
Hi, brothers.
accident or just want a new look for your vehicle, come see us at Troy Paint and Body, where we do it right the first time. Our staff has more than 100 years combined experience and can handle repairs and paint work on any make or model. We also offer a lifetime guarantee as long as you own your vehicle. Our 24-hour towing service means we're here when you need us. Troy Paint and Body, where we may meet by accident, but you'll be glad we did. So come see us at Troy Paint and Body, located on South Brundage Street in Troy beside the post office.
Hey folks, are you tired of spending hard-earned money on a gas grill only to have it burn up in less than 2 years? Not to mention burning your food. Here at Southern Grill and Patio in Troy, Alabama, we carry the Holland Grill line. They've been around since 1988, and there are people right here in Troy that have had theirs for over 20 years. These grills are guaranteed not to flare up. You can grill, steam, or smoke on your new Holland Grill today. Come see us at Southern Grill and Patio in Troy, Alabama, inside Town and Country Flooring Center.
When you are handed the key to a new Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick or GMC, rev up your imagination. Think of all the places you can go in some of the most stylish, best quality cars available on the market today. Feel confident driving vehicles with superb dependability and safety ratings. And smile, you saved a ton of money because you bought at Bill Jackson. Let the only thing holding you back be the end of the road. A Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC vehicle will not only change your life, it saves you money like nowhere else.
Troy Cable Security makes it easy to stay aware and stay in control of your home wherever you are. User-friendly interface allows easy navigation for lights, locks thermostat, video, and garage doors. Never worry about leaving your garage door open or the front door unlocked. Your mobile app can send alerts to your phone for alarm and no alarm events. Know when your children arrive home from school with video response. Make sure your home is powered by Troy Cable Security for ultimate access, awareness, and protection.
If you've had an accident or just want a new look for your vehicle, come see us at Troy Paint and Body, where we do it right the first time. Our staff has more than 100 years combined experience and can handle repairs and paint work on any make or model. We also offer a lifetime guarantee as long as you own your vehicle. Our 24-hour towing service means we're here when you need us. Troy Paint and Body, where we may meet by accident, but you'll be glad we did. So come see us at Troy Paint and Body, located on South Brundage Street in Troy beside the post office.
Back to our show, ladies and gentlemen. Max Howell is on the phone from Fulton, Mississippi. I know we've had some calls that have had to drop us. I know a lot of folks want to talk also. Later on this week, we'll be talking about the Masters and all that's going on with that. Of course, two very good friends, John Fairclough and Max Howell. I was mentioning while we were on break, if I had to go to war, it would have been your guys I'd want to go to war with because hey, being tough was not any part of it. I mean, y'all were as tough as they came. And, you know, that's back in the days. If you went to the beach, you better bring your boxing gloves with you or whatever because, you know, you won't be tested. It was a time of pride. Some people had too much pride. And that means those guys were in street fights all the time, you know, growing up. And how many times did you fight on the football field? You never see a fight on the football field, hardly. And I go to all the practices. But, see, back in the old days, there was a fight every other down because somebody got their feelings hurt, Max, because he got whipped. I mean, John had whipped them, and the guy in front of him had a lot of pride. And then what you're going to do, you're going to turn out, and he said, well, he might have blocked me, but I'm fixing to whip him right now, you know.
In junior college, it was a different world there. The average age on our ball club when I was there just turned 18 years old. Was average age probably 26, 27. We got a lot of military guys coming in, just thugs. But our Coach Bentley, as I mentioned early on, was a very physical fellow, and his whole philosophy was this physical approach to football. If we can whip them physically, we can win the football game.
That's right.
Coach Clipson's philosophy was he was rules oriented, and there was a rule for everything.
That's
if
right.
we implement the rules, we can win the football.
I remember these blocking rules were pretty complicated. You remember that?
But Coach Bentley was bloodthirsty. He really was, and but what a great man he was in so many ways. And the great thing is he gave me an opportunity, but he wanted blood on the ground, not on your pants.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll quit practice when there's blood on the ground. He was that kind of He was that kind of fellow. Where Coach Clipson did not teach that. Yeah. Coach Clipson was
he was a class guy.
You implement the rules and be hard-nosed. Well, hey, Coach Clipson was tough, though.
Well, Coach Clipson got his reputation by coaching one guy, and his name was Bobby Marlowe. And the other guys, there was also a guy on that team that went to Auburn at the same time. Of course, Bobby Marlowe was a great former Alabama football player, and Coach Clipson coached him in college. He went back down to South Florida and was coaching at Florida Southern. And they hired Clipson back to Troy, down in South Florida. He was a basketball coach. Okay, and then Clipson got the job at Troy because of his reputation that back when he had Charlie Hideaway and Bobby Marlowe. And he became the coach and coached from 1955 to 1965. And some of the great people and some of the great coaches, ladies and gentlemen, believe you me, that ever coached a game of football was coached in college by William Clipson. No question about it.
Let me bring up a point, and Max will concur with this. That, you know, when we were playing football at Troy, Coach Clipson's staff was limited to a couple of
2 or 3
part-time coaches. Where today, Coach Chip out at Troy University will probably have 8 or 9 assistants coaching position coaches.
That's right.
And it's just, you know, that it's just a totally different era. But, you know, the number of athletes available today far exceeds the number of athletes available when Max
and then the terrible thing back then was, you know, they had unlimited scholarships. So the people with the money, like Alabama and Auburn, they could sign as many people they wanted to. And of course, Bear Bryant used to sign 10 quarterbacks every year just to keep them away from Auburn and Georgia Tech and Tennessee. You know, but it's definitely different. But the best thing that ever happened to college football is for the teams now, they can only sign 25 players each year, and that means that the Troys and the Georgia Southerns and people like that are going to get very good football players. Don't you agree?
You go back and look at it, guys. The fact is, John, you remember this. The 3 coaches with Rudy Argini and Mel Lucas and
that's right.
Clipson, all 3 had PhDs.
That's right.
They were teachers. That was first and foremost. I think that's what I came away from that program. No one had no reservation about the ability to teach the football skills. And then after that, it didn't. As I said, you mentioned earlier, it didn't take me long to figure out the kids that had the running and the running and tackling skills. If you put together that with the technique skills, then you could win pretty quickly with it.
No question.
And Coach Paul Nix was there, but he was a year ahead of you. He was. Yeah.
And I tell you, Coach Nix from Greenville, Alabama, of course, came to Troy and played basketball under Surface Stinney at Troy, and became the baseball coach, who built a reputation. Then went to Auburn and coached there 20 years or more, and was very well respected in that ranks. And of course, the program started growing. You know. When Billy Atkins replaced Clipson, he started getting players from all over, and the rules permitted it. And he, you know, he went and got a lot of players to come to Troy. And then after his tenure, you know, then you had Tom Jones, a great high school coach that became a football coach at Troy, and then you had Bird Wiggum, and then Charlie Bradshaw came in with the old Bear Bryant type. Fundamental type guy, and then of course a young coach like Chin Gailey and Rick Rhodes, and then Larry Blakeney. Of course, you know, it's really very uncommon now to see a coach for 25 years at one place. Is that right, Max?
Very much so.
And of course, those were all good football coaches, and you know, there are a lot of good football coaches out there, and you know, at all levels. Don't you agree?
I don't think there's any doubt. You know, that you was talking about the longevity of somebody, but the money today, the expectations. You know, I think everybody starts to look around when anybody's been at a school over 10 years.
Well, just a case, I'm not positive about the contract that Chip Lindsey had signed, but I want to say it's around $600,000 plus. You know, different benefits. You know, if you know, or different bonuses and whatever. You know, could go as close to $1 million at Troy, Alabama. Who would ever thought that?
Neil has gotten pretty close.
Oh yeah, he was right around 800,000. Right. Plus, they get big bonuses when they go to a bowl game and when they do these things. And of course, like you said, the problem is now they're paying assistant coaches and coordinators $1.5 million, or sometimes even more than that, to come. And you know, some coordinators at the higher levels are making more than. At the lower levels of Division I, making more money.
Well, that's true, but the essence of football at any level is the player.
Exactly.
You know, that is the player. Football did more for me, and I said many times, I can never do for football what football has done for me. It worked very, very hard at the game, but anybody that has had an opportunity and played football and really tried to play the game is better off today. If they do.
No question about it. And your integrity, I don't know if you could go any further than you know, to define John Fairclough, one thing is tough, but another thing, a man of great integrity. Don't you agree that if there was a rule out there, John Fairclough was not going to break it, you know?
Those are some of the intangible rules that, you know, that I came away from Troy with, was the guys like John. And we had several on there, but I think John was right at the top of the list. And, you know, how he and I got together, you know, I think back now, back the way it was then, and the track that both of us had followed through our careers, it was almost divine intervention that the two of us came together. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know where you realize this, but I came away with a lot different, I think, attitude about life.
Yeah.
Having been there 2 years with him as opposed to him with me.
No question about it. And like you said, he could have been a great coach, or he could have been a great military man. He was a man of, like I said, a great integrity and loyalty, and has built such a great reputation as the administrator of the Alabama Independent Schools, because there's a lot of personalities, especially in the coaching. You got over 100 schools, and you got not knocking John Niblett, but you know, he had his own way, and I mean, there's so many.
Still does, by the way.
There were so many coaches out there that wanted to have their way, but hey, you had to go through the men at the top, and it was, hey, listen, it was what John said, or the highway. So that was the answer, you know.
Well, you know, you sleep better at night when you do things the right way.
That's right. And I'm over 27 years, you saw it all. And what do you think has been the biggest change now with high school athletics? Of course, now I see women. There's so many more girls' activities in the Alabama independent schools, and we talked about this right at the first of the show, Max. They started playing all of these girls' sports, like they were playing volleyball and giving scholarships. They were playing softball, giving scholarships, soccer, giving scholarships, and we could just go on and on, golf and whatever, giving a lot of kids at that level opportunity to play college sports.
Well, you know, high school is more than just school. It is for interscholastic opportunities, and that's where the student body is molded, is the camaraderie developed through high school athletics. People want to be part of a good program.
Exactly.
They mom and dad want their children in good programs, and what.
Yeah.
And you talk about scholarships. How long will it be, Max, before getting a scholarship to college in football, you'll have to come through an IMG academy or something like that? You know.
And of course, what he's talking about is just football
factories. This is just growing.
Yeah.
This is a growing
Right.
phenomenon.
There's only 2 or 3 like that out there, but you see where the programs that reach the top, and as far as the polls are concerned, with the Division I programs, that's where they go to recruit.
That's right.
And what you guys, you know what happened? Those schools have already purged out. They don't have to take a chance on a kid. When a kid gets to that level, they've already been through every vetting program that you could go as far as his ability. You know, most of them have tried to correct their, you know, if they've had some character problems, they've tried to correct that. If they've had academic problems, they've tried to correct that. And by the time they hit the Division I field or 1AA or wherever they may end up going, they're ready to play. Unlike when we came along, I think, you know, I go back and think about those days. I was never driven in high school to get. In fact, I was going to quit. I was going to quit in high school and get me a car and work in a steel factory where my dad was, until he put me on the night shift from 11 o'clock at night to 7 in the morning, and he convinced me that I need to go to school. That was the society in those days.
No question about it.
So things have changed tremendously.
But with those programs coming up, and
you know, the prep school and IMG, they're that only thing that limits the numbers out there, John, is the financial situation that it takes the parents to get them there.
Well, that might be what limited enrollment in some of your upper echelon colleges now.
Right.
As we all know.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's right. But I tell you, one of the biggest things now is this gray shirt rule, where a a kid can actually play, be gray shirted, then red shirted, so they don't hit the field for the first two. Well, they hit the field as a practice as a regular gray shirt, and then a red shirt. As a red shirt, they can start practicing. But that's the way a lot of them are going, especially with their quarterbacks. They want a kid that's mature, and like Troy's got a kid, Gunnar Watson, right now. That next year he'll be a pure freshman, but he's actually set for the last two years at Troy. And of course, I can name several quarterbacks that have played at Troy in the last few years that went that route.
Well, rules are changing all the time. This transfer rule for college players is something that that I would have reservations.
I think that is a can of worms coming. It's going to be happening for long.
It is. So
but I think that's our society, guys. Go back and look.
Yeah.
I mean, our whole society is loosened, tremendously.
Yeah.
In every aspect. In the college football, what we're also interested in and watching is that's just the public acknowledgement. The rules itself in today's society is not. Let's just say this. It has changed tremendously since the three of us came along.
And another big thing,
I have a hard time adjusting. I'll be the first to tell you I do.
Back in your day, getting a degree was very important. You didn't see anybody leaving early or anything like that. But now, in basketball, it's the worst thing in the world. But these kids are not getting an education. I think they eventually should make it a priority to get your degree before you can do anything.
But fellas, we talk about college athletics. The focus of athletics is on the junior high and high school level, where thousands and where millions of athletes every year doesn't have an opportunity to go to college.
Yeah, that's right.
When you talk about a college athlete, you're talking about an elite group of people. But those people are in an elite group simply because a lot of ordinary folks out there put them on a pedestal and gave them opportunity to be. And so we have to touch on the ordinary players.
Yeah. I'll tell you something else that you don't think about. Right now, physical education is taught mainly till the 9th grade, and after you get in the 10th, 11th, 12th grade, you don't see anybody taking PE. You know what I'm saying? So that's not even required anymore. And so, I mean, your everyday kid is not getting any kind of activity.
Well, we've talked about it for years, Mike, and John, I know agree. Most any high school, we could still walk in any high school around this part of the country and find more and better athletes walking the halls than on the field.
Exactly.
Because they're distracted, they got parental problems, they're single parent families, or whatever the circumstance might be. There are some really outstanding athletes, and they're academically eligible and all that, but they've had either bitter taste in their mouth from the organized sports, or they've chosen to go a different route.
They choose not.
Reasons why they're still in the halls as opposed to being on the field.
And these coaches are so powerful. Take a basketball program or a baseball program. Russell County High School is a very good indication. Until they got a coach that emphasized football, all they cared about was playing baseball. That's all they cared about, and he didn't even allow his baseball players to play football. You go to the football game, they didn't even have a program. And this is a big school now. It's a 6A school now. But finally, they've made a few changes, and that school is growing now because they're allowing football. But that's a true statement, though. A coach is so powerful. I mean, they could learn the other two programs to enhance their program.
Now, and I'll share a quick story. My first head coaching job down in Florida was at a basketball school. The basketball coach was Ralph Moore. And they had a great basketball. And he told me, he said, John, you're not going to win football here. So it's a basketball school. I said, Ralph, you're wrong. I'm going to outwork you. We outworked him, and we became a football school. The point is that a coach does have an opportunity to determine the destiny of the athletic program.
All right, you two guys know it as well as anybody. You've been there and done that. The football at the young kids level, like Pee-wee football, looks like it is practically gone now. They've gone to two-hand touch and flag football now instead of contact at that age. What is your feeling about that?
Well, I didn't allow Pee Wee football at South Montgomery when I first got there, and I almost got fired for not. But I don't agree with Pee Wee football. In fact, I wouldn't care if we didn't start contact football until ninth grade. But be that as it is, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
And because there's so many physical features of the young male athlete that hasn't developed and matured to the point, especially with the pivot joints and what have you. But hey, it's something, you know. I sit here today having played 4 years of college football, and probably 90% of my skeletal problems are due to football.
Exactly. Yeah, no question.
But the whole point is, I mentioned early on, football did a heck of a lot more for me than I'll ever do for
Well, the problem with y'all, you had one face mask, or one bar, or none.
sometimes.
And of course,
we had
and the first thing you want to do is pound him with that big forearm. Is that right?
Always.
Yeah.
That's what
You
we
remember
call
that picture made, and I wish I had a copy of the picture of John and Jim Tompkins standing right next to each other. You remember seeing that picture? And both of them looked like weightlifters, you know, back then. You ended up weighing close to 200 pounds, didn't you?
190 was my top weight.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know we've always and there was no really big people on our squad. Walt Davis was our biggest guy.
He was a huge guy, wasn't he? Yeah.
He was a gentle giant, even though he was a recon Marine.
Mule Manning, I can remember so many of those guys that played on that team.
And, Cliff Russell was a big boy. And, you know.
No question about it.
Anyway,
well, let's
we
talk
were
a little,
what we were.
Let's talk a little bit about Troy real quick before we go offline. Of course, this weekend the Hall of Fame banquet, and there's some great people inducted. In fact, we've got a phone call coming in from one of the outstanding quarterbacks of all time, and Brock Nutter. You remember that name? The outstanding player that'll be going in, and Gary Pimenta, one of the great linebackers, came from your neck of the woods down in around Brandon, Florida, down in that area, with his numbers as far as tackles. I mean, was not even close to any other linebacker there played. He was just a phenomenal linebacker. He'll be going in, and of course we've got a great bunch of folks, and it's going to be a great banquet. And if you want to go to a very nice affair, I promise you, you need to go to this event this weekend. You'll see Troy at its very best. But real quickly, both of you, does it surprise you at all at how Troy has grown and prospered as a Division I-A program?
It really doesn't. But Troy's had good leadership, and you know, leadership dictates your destiny. And
that's right. If that guy at the top was not particularly crazy about football, you'd be back down to square one, wouldn't you?
And giving Troy room to grow has been important. But no, it hasn't, because other colleges and universities have also grown. But Troy's an elite group, and they've separated themselves in many aspects, and athletically, academically, internationally, and other way, you know. So yeah, I'm not surprised at Troy's growth. Dr. Hawkins has done an excellent job, and you know, and he knows how to get the job done, and that's important.
And hired good people. Of course, we just hired a brand new basketball coach that got a great philosophy and so forth, and you know, hopefully our basketball program will be enhanced. But of course, you know, both of y'all are football guys, and it's been, you know, another thing too about back when y'all went to school, you could name all of the professors pretty much on campus, and they were stars as far as y'all going out into the field of physical education. You could pick up that phone and call Clipson or call Dr. Watson and say, hey, I'm interviewing for this job. Will you help me? Hey, a phone call from one of them. And I'm talking about Troy's physical education program was as good as anybody's in the country. And a lot of our guys got hired as teachers before they were hired as coach. Isn't that right?
That's true.
I don't think there's any doubt. If you go back and look, there was no separation between athletics and physical education in those days. It was all under one department. And of course, you know, Earl Watson was the head of that and such. And even though by his own admission, until the time, you know, when Billy was hired, that changed. Dr. Ralph Adams is the one that really launched that kind of program. And of course, Jack Hawkins came after that, and I think just the thing just grew.
Yeah, and something that a lot of people don't realize is that the band program is just as popular as the football program. It's probably one of the very rare deals in sports is to have Alabama and Auburn here and their bands down below. But at Troy, the band and the football team are of the same importance. It's amazing, but they're all great programs.
They are, and attendance at football game is enhanced tremendously by the band parents.
Exactly right. Now, you got a granddaughter as a cheerleader, and you're proud of her.
She is a third-generation athlete at Troy, with Ken being our son, played football here, and then she was a 4-year cheerleader, and this spring game will be her last hoorah.
Oh, man. Well, I tell you what, she's been a great one, and you've been out to a lot of them. You're not going to quit coming, I hope.
No.
And, of course, your wife has been a great
a
leader in your family. And tell us about your wife.
Barbara's a Troy University girl, and Max knew her very well. And I don't know, Max might have been with me when we met. I'm not real sure.
I think I was.
That's so long, far back I can't.
Y'all all knew how to bop, didn't you? Even that boy from
we met Barbara at the Baptist Student Union building, playing ping pong.
Exactly.
Pool. Anyway.
It wasn't many hours of the day that John and I worked together.
I love that. And y'all going to be together this weekend, too.
It'd be great to see Max. I had an opportunity to visit Max this past fall. Anyway, it's...
Yeah. I hope this will be like a great reunion. There'll be a party after the induction ceremonies at the Alumni House immediately after that program's over with, and hopefully it'll be a great time where you can meet and greet and have a bunch of fun.
I want to say something, Mike, before we go off the air, and I want to compliment you. I've heard many people say if there's a Trojan in Troy, Alabama, it's Mike Amos. You've done a tremendous amount to move Troy forward, move the program forward. You're knowledgeable. You know people. People know you, and you never speak a negative about Troy. And I compliment you for that, and I thank you for being on our team.
Well, you know, it's just like with you two. Troy's who I am. You know, how can you turn your head on who you are? You know, and I'm a proud Troy guy. I mean, I was an orange and blue guy as a young kid growing up, and just like you guys, you were proud to be a Pike County Bulldog. And
I just wish you'd had an opportunity to play with Max and me.
I know it. I wish I'd been as strong as you guys, as was bad as you guys. Let me tell you this. If we had to go to war right now, his group would be the one I'd want to take. Because they are hard-nosed country boys that have all achieved great things. You show me a Troy guy that hadn't gone out and made something of himself and a great reputation all over South Alabama, all over North Florida, and parts of Georgia. There are Troy people everywhere. You know, a guy like Frank Miller, and I was talking recently, hey, you know, what if John Deuce and Frank Miller had played football, or Charles Clark had played
Charles
football?
Clark was a great coach, yeah.
I know, but what I'm saying, all these guys they played basketball. But think about what a great athlete they would have been in, you know.
You mentioned Hurley Mule Manning.
Yeah,
a great coach down in Florida, Milton, Florida.
Exactly right. And of course, Bobby Terrell over in Greenville, you know, great people. They're great Troy people everywhere, and of course it's grown, and you know, we've jumped the boundaries. We've you know, over on what type program we have. You see that it's not only been a football program and an athletic program to move ahead, but the school has grown, the town has grown. The name of Troy is very well recognized all over the country. Wouldn't you say that, Max?
No, I don't think there's any doubt. I mean, I failed to come back enough times through my career because I was out on the road trying to build a career. But the day I stepped away from the day-by-day activities, Mike, you know, I redirected everything I had back to Troy.
Yeah, no question about it.
Stop anymore.
Well, you're a well-known guy, and tell everybody what where you, of course, you're living over in Fulton, Mississippi, near Tupelo, and found a home, and you know, everybody's every Wednesday they want to know, you know, he's a big cook. Now, you know, of course, I know you're a big cook too, John, at your house. But Tell us what's for dinner this weekend or last weekend.
Just this past weekend we did. Our favorite up here is that they do the 14, 18 ounce sirloins and ribeyes.
Yeah.
That's a big cook for the guys. I have 2 hunting clubs that I cook for on a regular basis, and they're basic. We do either sweeter or iced potatoes, and we'll have a coleslaw or a house salad to go with that, garlic bread, and of course the favorite dessert in Mississippi is what they call Mississippi mud pie, which is
You're making us hungry now.
It's a chocolate cake with chocolate syrup and pecans on each layer. There's 3 layers, and I'm telling you, when you eat a steak and eat the sides with that and eat that Mississippi mud pie, you're not long for this world.
Especially put a big old scoop of vanilla ice cream on top of it.
It comes right from the oven. I always have vanilla ice cream in the freezer somewhere around.
Well, listen, we appreciate you calling so much. Look forward to hearing from you next week at this time. And, of course, we salute our very good friend John Fairclough as he is inducted into the Troy University Sports Hall of Fame this weekend. And, Max, last words?
Yeah, John, I can't thank you enough. Congratulations on the induction. You well deserve it. I'm sorry it's been so long for the time to pass by. As I've told Mike, so many people that have lived as long as you and I have, a lot of them will get forgotten somewhere along the way. Because of so many young people. But congratulations on that, and I look forward to visiting with you this weekend.
Hey, thanks, fella. Nice to hear from you.
We're going out to eat at Julia's for breakfast this morning, and of course, if you'd like to join us out there, we'd love to see you. We appreciate our sponsors so much. Of course, when we get a conversation like this, we don't go to our commercials probably as much as normal. But again, we honor my good friend John Fairclough. Congratulations, John.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for having me.
And ladies and gentlemen, you can see this show again at 1:30 right here on Troy Cable Channel 2. And of course, we were out on Facebook, John, to the billions on Facebook across the country. And hopefully a lot of those guys picked up on this show because we're honoring a great one this weekend. And along with, and we'll talk about some of those other guys tomorrow right here on this show. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.